Hi love, happy Friday and welcome back to another episode of the True Crime Cocktail Hour on Friday evenings. This is where we sit down on Fridays, yes, and you guessed it, deep dive into cocktails and mysterious true crime cases. Today's case, it's just gonna make your blood boil, honestly. If you know me, you know that I love to talk about cases that are as close to an Agatha Christie novel as possible. I like mysterious cases with a plot twist, with a thorough investigation. However, this case today has none of it. It's not mysterious, it was solved quickly, yet the circumstances of it, I've never heard of something like that before. And yeah, just a heads up, maybe you want to skip this episode if you tend to high blood pressure, because it sure as hell raised mine. So for today's case, we're going back to good old Germany, and we will be talking about 5 individuals who all tried to kill the same woman. One eventually succeeded. That and more we will cover in today's case, so grab your drink and get ready, and let's get into it.
911, what's your emergency?
Arizona officials in Detroit tonight, yet another vicious anti-gay hate crime.
It was chalked up to the gang.
Facing felony stalking charges.
I did not kill Ron.
This young, beautiful woman right here is Christine Rexin. Christine Rexin was born and raised in Berlin-Lübars. Now, you know, Berlin, capital city of Germany, a very, very crowded city, very popular, you know, college parties, and I don't know, not a big fan of Berlin, but that's not the point. However, Berlin-Lübars, it's more like a rural area. It's like the countryside, you know, a lot of farms. It's very quiet and peaceful. Berlin city is Manhattan. Berlin-Lübars is Oklahoma. Okay? Christine was a very happy and very cheerful child, and she had a huge heart for animals, especially horses. If she was not in school or at home, she would be on the horse farm that was very close to her house. I mean, 6 out of 7 days she would be there. She would ride horses, take care of them, feed them, hang out with the other girls who would spend their time there. It was Christine's favorite place in the whole world. When Christine finished high school, she wanted to turn her hobby into a full-time job. So she decided to become a horse farmer, which requires 3 years training. And she was given the opportunity to complete her training in Oranienburg, which is a city like half an hour north of Berlin-Lübars.
Ich bin Christin Rexin, bin Auszubildende im 3. Lehrjahr hier als Pferdewirtin. Meine Aufgaben sind, mich die Pensionspferde zu kümmern.
Now, the horse farm on which Christine went through her training, it belonged to a married couple. But after just a couple of months of Christine being there, this married couple, they decided that their marriage was basically over and they got divorced. Now, the husband, he wanted to start all over. He wanted a new life for himself. That meant sell the farm, move away, and just start all over. The wife, however, her name is Regina, and she wanted to keep the farm. But in order to do that, she had to pay her future ex-husband the half of the property's worth, and she was not able to do that. So eventually she was forced to sell the farm. So Regina would put it up for sale under the premise that the new owner would take over all employees and people in training. Great, love that. So a couple of weeks go by, and then one day, a mother and her adolescent son show up on the farm. Cornelia Hinz worked as a finance consultant, and her son Robin was a professional show jumping rider. And the two of them had this dream together that they would own their own farm one day and make a lot of money by breeding and selling high quality horses. So they take a look around and they love it. So they tell Regina, we want to buy this farm. Great. Now, I don't know how it works in America or Canada or Australia, but here in Germany, you can't just go and buy a house or a farm like that. You have to qualify. So first of all, you have to be able to pay 20% of the property's worth out of your own pocket. And then you have to apply at a bank to get a mortgage. And they will check everything about you. So they will check your salary, your credit score, everything. I mean, I bought a house last year here in Germany, and they wanted to know so much that eventually I was like, do you want to know my bra size? Like, because that's like the only thing you don't know yet. The bank, they just want to make sure that you are able to pay the mortgage long term. But this whole procedure can take a couple of weeks. So Cornelia and her son Robin, they applied at a bank and tried to get the money to buy this farm. However, they already signed this selling contract, even though they did not have the yes from the bank yet. Apparently, Cornelia and her son Robin, they already felt like the new owners, so they just moved in. I didn't know you could do that, but okay. So the next part is so cliche, but I can't change it, okay? That's what happened, babe. So listen, if you are a young girl or a young woman and you live in a rural area and you spend 90% of your time on a horse farm, you are not gonna like meet a whole bunch of young, sexy, available boys/men in your days, you know? But now Robin was there, and he is now the only rooster in the yard. And Robin, he's tall and he's handsome and he just loves horses just like them. So yeah, you guessed it, they all felt hot and heavy for him. They all thought he was so fine. But Robin only had eyes for one specific person, and that was Christine Rexin. So the two of them became a couple in spring of 2011. Now, while Christine and Robin were on cloud 9, Robin's mother, Cornelia, she got a call from the bank. Bad news, honey. They were not gonna get the money after all. Thus, they are not able to buy this farm. Unfortunately, though, this is funny. Robin, by that point, he had already made a whole bunch of changes around the farm. Like, once he went and demolished a whole ass building. And now they had to go up to Regina and tell her, well, sorry we moved in and screwed up your farm, but we didn't get the money and now, well, it's over. Our bad. Sorry. Whole effing mess. But Christine, she did not know any of this. Robin never told her about this. What he told her instead is that this farm, they were just not feeling it. It was not the right thing. They weren't feeling it. And they were looking for another farm. And they actually wanted to buy another farm that was like an hour away from Oranienburg. And Robin told Christine that he wanted her to become his wife and move/work there with him and his mother. And Christine, she was excited and she said yes to the marriage proposal and to moving with him to this farm. However, this time Cornelia and Robin, they were smart enough to not try and buy the farm, they just rented it. However, after a couple of weeks of being there, Cornelia sat down with Christine and she told her, listen, honey, now that you're gonna marry my son and all of us are just gonna be this big ass family, we're all gonna live and work on the farm, I think both sides are in need of a little security. So then Cornelia told Christine that Robin had taken out a life insurance policy. In case of his death, Christine would be the beneficiary. So if he should die unexpectedly, that would mean for her that she was able to keep the farm and remain financially stable. And then Cornelia told Christine, you know what, I think you should do the same for him. So Christine, she trusted Cornelia. I mean, her future mother-in-law, she was a finance consultant, she ought to know. And maybe it is for the best. So Christine took out a life insurance policy worth over $250,000. But unfortunately, there's two things Christine didn't know at the time. First of all, Cornelia had lied to her. Robin had never taken out a life insurance policy in the first place. And then second of all, and that is even worse, now that Christine signed this life insurance policy, Cornelia had her official signature, and she did not hesitate to copy and paste it onto 7 other life insurance policies, together worth over $2 million. Now, if you're asking yourself if Robin knew about this, well, of course he did, babe. He was in cahoots with his mother the entire time. But even before Christine had signed this life insurance policy, Cornelia already found herself financially struggling. She was not able to pay for electricity or water. She was not able to pay for the veterinary or for medicine, let alone the rent. And she was pissed about this. And she was like, I'm not gonna be the one who's gonna stand between my son and his dream. I'm gonna help him get what he wants, whatever it is. So Robin and Cornelia made a plan. April of 2012, murder attempt number 1. So Robin, he drove up to a video monitored gas station to give himself an alibi. Great. So in the meantime, Cornelia and Christine are home alone cooking dinner. Now when Christine turned her back to Cornelia, Cornelia grabbed a knife and stabbed Christine in the back. Luckily, she did not hurt inner organs, but it was very close. So Christine, she's in shock. She turns around. She sees Cornelia still standing there with the effing knife in her hand. And even though Christine is in tremendous pain, she's also like pissed, like what the fuck? So she's able to disarm Cornelia and throw her down to the floor. Now, when Cornelia realizes that Christine was still able to defend herself, obviously she didn't like injure her that much. She pretended to have like a psychotic episode or a blackout. So now Cornelia, she's lying there and she's giving it her all-time best Oscar-winning acting performance, going like, where am I? What happened? So Christine is able to call the ambulance and she's taken to the hospital to undergo surgery. Robin, when he heard about this, he rushed to the hospital and all the time pretended to be this super supportive boyfriend. Cornelia, she was taken to a psychiatric hospital to undergo evaluation. And again, she told investigators, I don't know what came over me. I can't remember what happened. I don't remember attacking her. Anything. The staff at the hospital and the people responsible for this evaluation, they bought it. So case closed. However, after Christine was released from the hospital, she said to Robin, you know what, I still want to be with you, but I want your mother to stay as far away from me as humanly possible. Understandably. So murder attempt number 1, status failed. Early June of 2012, murder attempt number 2. So Cornelia and Robin, they became clear of the fact that they had to ask somebody else to commit the murder. Cornelia, she was not able to get anywhere near Christine for the foreseeable future, and if Robin did it, it would probably raise questions or at least be very suspicious. So then Robin, one day, he went up to his mother and he told her, I got somebody who could commit the murder for us. So one day while he's on the farm, he walks over to a woman called Tanya. Now Tanya and Robin, they are acquainted. Tanya frequently, she visits the farm. She doesn't have her own horse, but she takes a riding lesson here and then, so the two of them knew each other. So Robin, he went up to her and he asked her, hey, do you want to kill my fiance? I will pay you $50,000. Now when I read this, I was like, what? What makes him think that she would possibly agree to all of this? I mean, yes, $50,000, that is a lot of money, but still, like, what? Why ask this random person? Because Tanya was in love with Robin. And Robin, he's not stupid. I mean, yes, he is, but he knew. And he knew how to take advantage of that. So I don't know what he told her. It was probably something along the line of, hey, I actually don't want to get married to Christine. I don't love her anymore. Actually, I just have a thing for you. But now she's in the way and we could be together and just get rich. I don't know what he told her. Anyhow, Tanya's thought process at that time was, hell yeah, 2 birds with 1 stone, baby. I get $50,000. And I can get rid of his fiancée. And because I will be the one who commits the murder and thus solves all of his problems, he said he had a thing for me anyway. He will fall in love with me. There's no way around it. Like, I'm gonna be his new girlfriend.
Inhale and exhale.
So anyway, she agrees. And in early June of 2012, Tanya calls Christine and she tells her that she thinks about buying a horse. And she asks Christine whether the two of them could meet and talk about it a little bit more, maybe make a deal. And Christine, she was super excited. She thought, yeah, finally things are starting to look up and maybe we can make some money. So she agreed to meet Tanya in the parking lot of a fast food restaurant. So the two of them talked and they set the deal. And then Tanya said, hey, I've got some champagne in the car. How about the two of us celebrate? So she goes to her car and she pours 2 cups of champagne, but adds potassium chloride into one of them. And Christine, she drinks it. Now here's the thing. Potassium chloride can kill you if it is injected into the vein. A little bit of potassium in your drink, however, won't do much. And Christine didn't even notice it. So murder attempt number 2, status failed. Late June of 2012, murder attempt number 3. So Tanya, after her own failed attempt, she panicked a little. She wanted to commit the murder for Robin, and she did not want to disappoint, for it would probably decline her chances of becoming his future bae. So she asked her brother Sven for help. Sven had previously served time in prison for some minor offenses, and instead of asking his sister Tanya if she was out of her effing mind, Sven was like, yeah, okay, I'll help you. Not only that, he also already knew who to ask. A former cellmate called Steven. Unbelievable. Steven is a 22-year-old loser with a criminal record for damage to property and a part-time job as a pizza delivery driver in Dortmund, Germany. That's all you need to know about him. He's a dumbass. So Tanya, she went over to him, hey, you want to make $500? All you have to do for it is kill somebody. And Steven says, yeah. So Tanya, she also paid her brother Sven $500 commission, and the deal stood. So Tanya rented a car, picked up Steven in Dortmund, and drove all the way back to the horse farm. On the 19th of June, Robin stayed at Christine's place. The murder was planned for the following day. So before going to bed, Robin texted Tanya, quote, "Not another failed attempt, please." End quote. So Robin, he drives home in the morning of the 20th, but he would later meet with Steven and Tanya in the parking lot of a public swimming pool. So the plan was Steven was gonna hide somewhere in the bushes and attack Christine from behind when she was least expecting it. So Robin called Christine and he was like, hey, I just ran into Tanya and she told me about how wonderful you were and she wanted to thank you again. So why don't you come over here to this parking lot to say hello? And Christine said, okay. And she went there, but she went there together with a friend. So murder attempt number 3. Status failed. So after talking a bit, Christine and her friend, they left again. At this point, Robin was just furious. He was committed to not let another day go by. He was like, okay, now or never, sick of this. So later that evening, Robin, Tanya, and Steven, they all returned to this parking area. Steven again hid somewhere in the bushes. And then Robin calls Christine again, this time telling her that he wanted to give her a check of money that he allegedly owed her, and if she wanted to meet him in this parking area. And Christine said, okay again. And she went there. This time, she went alone. And Steven attacked her when she turned her back towards him. With a rope he brought along, he strangled her to death while Robin and Tanya just stood there and watched. I hate all of them. No, fuck them. No, fuck them. Fuck all of them. Christine's body was found the next morning by a woman walking her dog. So investigators at first thought that they were dealing with some kind of relationship crime, especially when they saw that Robin had called Christine several times the day of the murder. So he was suspect number 1 and he was immediately arrested. However, while Robin sat in custody and denied, Steven sat in Dortmund and bragged. Yeah, he bragged about this crime. He thought he was the shit. I don't know. Luckily or unfortunately for Steven, he talked to the wrong person who all immediately told the police about it. And Steven was arrested. They were able to connect fibers from his clothes to fibers they had found on Christine's body. Steven, he throws Sven right under the bus. So now they got 3 out of 5. Great. And then investigators were able to recover text messages that Robin had sent to Tanya about the plan, the murder plan. And I mean, Sven and Tanya, they were sister and brother. So investigators thought she had something to do with it for sure. So now they have 4 out of 5. And then investigators also found out about the amount of debt and the financial situation of Cornelia and Robin. They also found out that the signatures on the life insurance policies were fake. So Cornelia was arrested as the last one 2 weeks after the murder. So now they got 5 out of 5. Great job. However, investigators now had one big-ass problem. They had 5 suspects, and everyone was blaming everybody else. Until one day, Tanya folded, and she made a full-blown confession, and she told investigators everything. She told them about the beginning of the plan, Cornelia's attempt, that she was just faking the psychotic episode. She told investigators about her own attempt with the potassium. At this point, investigators or anybody had no idea about this. We just know about this now because Tanya admitted it. She told investigators how everybody got to be involved in all of this, and so on and so on. And everything she said was reliable or able to be proven. Also at trial, Tanya, she testified that at this point, she would have done anything to get Robin to notice her. And I'm like, this guy? Are you sure? This wacko with a ton of debt and one psychotic-ass mother? That's what you're going for? And I mean, let's be real here for a second. Tanya, she's not 18 at the time of the murder. She is my age. She's 29. And I'm like, girl, come on, like, do better. So the news coverage was just huge, and everybody was asking themselves, how is this possible? How can someone be so selfish and so evil and so horrible? Forensic behavior psychologists, they testified in a trial, and they said something that I found very interesting. I didn't know that. So they said that greed can really quickly turn into an enormous hostility. So I think what happens is that you start to connect your money problems to this person. You blame this person for your money problems. And I think after 3 attempts, you just start going crazy. And you just start to resent this person. But honestly, you know what? Who fucking cares? Who fucking, like, fuck them. What's so concerning for me is that Robin and Cornelia, they asked so many different people. And you would think that at least one of them was ever like, fuck off, Robin. Now excuse me while I call the police. No, instead everybody was like, yeah, I'm in. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? I set her on fire. I strangled her. I don't care. Like, hello? Like, what? ¿Por qué? Robin, Cornelia, Stephen, and Sven were all sentenced to life in prison. Tanya was only sentenced to 14 years and 6 months in prison in exchange for her confession. Now, if any one of them should ever watch this, just know, in the name of the true crime community, fuck off. We all hope you live a miserable life. Thank you. That's it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Next week, we're going to a whole new continent. On this channel, we're going to Asia for the very first time. South China, to be exact. And we'll be talking about the bloody revenge of a young nurse. So if you don't have any plans next Friday, I would love to see you again for another cocktail and another true crime case. Until then, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. You try to relax a little bit. If somebody asks you to kill their fiancé, you say no. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for your support. I love you all. Bye.